welcome to the Art of Yarn podcast. I'm late this month, or last month. October just flew by for me. Was out of town for a little bit, and then Halloween and work and things. I was like, oh yeah, I need to do that. I need to do the podcast, and then it just slipped by. So, you get 2 for November. Happy Thanksgiving. It's a holiday too in America. Anyway, so yeah, I've been busy, and so let's get into. I made quite a bit. So weaving it's kind of taken a back seat. I was going to record some of it, and then I realized my battery on my camera doesn't hold a charge to save its life. So maybe like after I'm done recording, I can record it. We'll see if it has any battery life. Otherwise it has to stay like plugged into a wall. So for things like this, it's like great. And then I don't like using, I always forget to use my phone, or I could use my phone. Obviously. So, the walk in the woods. Oh yeah, this is the your what section, like what have I been up to that I've been working on. I'm afraid to put this that I have done on the floor because my cat loves netting and tulle and wants to roll around on it like a ballerina or drag queen. Not quite sure which one he is. Maybe a little bit of both. But anyway, the walk in the woods shawl has also taken a back seat. Still working on getting the second repeat of the design. I finished the first one. I've just, been picking away at it. It looks beautiful. Very happy with it. I just need to finish it. It'll get done. It'll get done. Maybe in a year. I need to set things aside for Christmas sewing. I finally got my sewing space put together. I had to fix my table so it would fit my machine better and my body better. And I've got my cutting table cleared off and things reorganized to a degree, and now it's all back to chaos after a 2-day sewing fun times. So, yeah. Anyway, but I'm also working on some artwork. This is some polar fleece that I am using India ink on. Not sure how archival that will be. It'll probably chip off or wear off. But I'm not too worried because that's like one layer of many that will come. So I want to put one layer of pattern down and then stitch with it, and then continue layer upon layer of obnoxious materials that I love, like glitter and makeup. Yeah. I also, and it's out of frame, so hang on. Sorry for the squeaky chair. I'll just get a couple panels. Ooh, and some boning. Don't. So I'm also working on a corset. So this is the pattern that I just altered from a pattern I had already drafted using my measurements. And it's going to be out of this wonderful stripy fabric and just a gray lining Nothing too exciting. And then also just cotton duct for the inner lining, so so I didn't design it to be that tightening or that what's the right word? Body shape altering, waist cinching, you know. Originally, so what I did get done was a Halloween costume, and I decided I had to go to an art gala, which is like super weird to say still. It's just something I never expected to like come out of my mouth, like, oh, I need to go to this art gala and I don't know what to wear. Do I wear black tie or like it's this like costumed no, stop playing with the, sorry, I was talking to Jack. It was this, it's like costumed or formal wear. So, and a lot of people, because it's, you know, a lot of artists are there and art community, so a lot of people wear costumes. So I was like, okay, I have a formal gown, but it really needs a strapless bra. And nowhere in the great city of Houston or the greater area has a strapless bra in store that will fit my body, which I find funny and annoying. So I'm like, okay, I'll sew a dress, a gown, and it'll be a costume, so then I won't worry about it too much and like get too persnickety over it. So the gown didn't work out, but I got an amazing skirt, and I ended up taking a top that I already owned and just like altering it a little bit, putting some feather trimming here, and that was it for the top. And then I altered a hat to be a witch. So I already own this hat. It just has a rounded top, and just got some wool felt because the hat is wool, so I wanted to keep the same. They're slightly different if you look close. And added some more trim. Of course, I had to add pom-pom fringe because pom-pom fringe is the best, and it's beautiful purple. So I was going with black, white, and purple. One thing that I wish I had done, little bat pin there, and moon and feathers. This was on the hat to begin with. The rest was added, and I love it. So one thing I wish I had time to do was either, or that I had done, I made a purple crinoline to go underneath. The base is purple. This people weren't going to see, so, and I needed more on the side, and I had it in my house. So like, guess what? I didn't, like, most of this was stuff I didn't have to go out and buy from Joann's or spend money on, which is like great because, you know, I like money in my bank, which it's not there as much as I want it to be. Anyway, so this fabric I already had. Same with this twill tape for the base of the crinoline, and I used the pattern that, where's the front? Okay, that's the back. This is the front. The pattern that I made or drafted in so lots of tulle. This is what my cat wants to keep laying on and rolling in, and I'll find him. I had it on the floor in my closet, and he was just like, and I like opened up my closet and he's like, hey mom, and like laying on it like a wonderful fluffy cloud of magical tulle. tulle and knitting. I don't blame them. It is magical. So, yeah, so it fits wonderfully. And I use that skirt to make another skirt, and I don't think, and I'll just holding it up awkwardly. So that's the fabric it's made out of. But it's an Edwardian style type skirt with A-line paneled. I should have put more panels in it than I did, but I can fix that by making another pattern because it's so easy. Like I have the sloper, so I can just go from that, and it's so nice. So nice because then it fits at my waist, so I don't have to fudge with the hem. I'm really trying not to swear, and it's wonderful. So, and then I'm like feeling confident, so I'm like, oh, I'll make a bust. This was bust. So I don't, it's just weird. I was trying to do a V-neck like with what's that word? Gathering or pleating under the bust and like a surplus type top, or that's what I've heard it called that. But I really like that style. It looks good on my body, and I got it to fit under the arm and under the arm and like around the armpit, because I remembered how to move this dart, and then it was super gappy like here to like here's my bra, and I'm like that's not okay. And with that striped fabric, putting in a dart like going there would just look weird, especially like there. And with the stripes, it'd be like, look at the dart, I didn't know how to fit it. I was trying to fix it at the armpit, like up here at the shoulder, and it just wasn't working out right. It wasn't as wide as I needed it to be. Like what I need to do is cut it out, make a couple muslins and play with it. And maybe I can get it right. And then I have enough fabric where I can cut out another bust, like no problem. What's nice with this fabric is that it's like fabric that I bought to make a Victorian like striped gown, and never got it done, never going to get it done, like being honest with myself. But actually I could, because I have the skirt made and I'm making the corset out of it. Originally I was going to corset the inside of the gown, and then I'm like, oh my god, Kyla, you have like a day and a half. You just need to get this shit done. Like, no. So, but I had already like cut out the corset. I was like, I'll do it. And then I just, because I already had it cut, I'm like, the inner lining and lining, I'm like, okay, I'll just cut the outer fabric using the striped fabric, because I've always wanted a black and white stripe corset. I love how stripes interact with all that seaming, because it really gives that hourglass appearance. And I think it's beautiful. So yeah, busy weekend. So this weekend is the Houston Quilt Festival. I'm hoping to go to that. That sounds like lots of fun. I keep forgetting that it's this weekend. I probably just go in and look. I don't need anything. I don't want to buy anything. I kind of don't want to go because then then I won't be tempted to buy stuff. I don't know. So after the trip to Michigan, didn't really buy anything, went back and brought stuff back with me from home that I couldn't bring the first time, but I already talked about it, so I don't have it near me. And I don't like editing that much. I just like to, here it is, world, one shot. Just call me Ed Wood. Anyway. So, I wanted to talk about craftsmanship today, because it's a good subject as crafters and artists to consider. So, like, do I follow the rules of being neat and clean, or do I be sloppy? Why should I choose what should I, and things. So for me, the biggest role craftsmanship plays is what is my intention of the final piece. So for my artwork, a lot of it is sloppy and fast and immediate and hectic on purpose. I want that gritty immediacy and like punkness, that leaving threads uncut if it's sewn, gloopy paint, uneven lines, like smeared ink or dye, layers upon layers, kind of building up, and it adds to the juxtaposition of disgust and beauty that I really enjoy working with. So for me, for my artwork, I always go I'm not gonna worry about craftsmanship, I'm just gonna get it done. If it's sloppy, it's sloppy. Like, cool. Or I will intentionally make something just gross and sloppy. I have a weaving that I intentionally wove it at way too big of a dent, so it is just sleazy, so sleazy, and that is like the technical term of a very loosely woven, no structure fabric. They're sleazy, which is, it's fun. So the threads shift and move inside the weaving when technically they shouldn't, but I did it that way on purpose because it gave like areas of density and areas of translucency that played off the paper areas of density and created more movement in the overall piece. If I were weaving that for like my bags that I weave for, or my shawls, I really make sure that they're woven at the right dent, at the right density, so they have a nice drape. If they're a shawl, they have a beautiful drape, so they're not too dense, but they're just right. For my bags, I weave them at a nice density so that they're sturdy. I make sure like the dye is all like done precisely. Same with my yarns. If something isn't up to snuff, I don't sell it. That's where I want my more precision in my dyeing or in my craftsmanship. So with my dyeing, the aesthetic is kind of sloppy. It looks like I just dripped dye unintentionally, one could say, but it is in fact intentional. I like that kind of graffitied look to it. It adds extra dimension to the yarns. So there'll be areas where I've like scrunched up the yarn so it doesn't suck in all the dye. Yeah, I play with how fast I want the dye to suck in, so the warmth of the dye solution and the warmth of the yarn. If I want a nice even versus nice and even, like layer, I'll work all cool and then slowly add heat. Sometimes I work with the powder, sometimes I work with like a dropper and make like splotches and like pore areas, and like how I scrunch it will affect how I dye it, and I've like played with that a lot to know what I'm getting. So that's like intentional as well. So while you're learning, you're going to make mistakes and they're not going to be intentional. So the best thing to do is to always take notes, because if you can figure out how you made that mistake and you like how that looks, you can put it in intentionally. So if you think of shiori weaving, that is intentionally using what is traditional mistakes to just let go and weave what your heart wants to weave. Maybe your heart wants to weave a precise thing. That's still technically shiori because that's what your heart wants. But overall, it's just not to let the rules get in the way of your creation. So for me, mistakes aren't okay for my Kyla's Lab business, but I will work with mistakes, especially mistakes that affect structure or the longevity of my pieces. So of my yarn, if the dye is not set properly, that's a major mistake, and that's not okay. For my hand woven pieces, if something's too sleazy, it gets taken off. Like, I don't sell it. Because when I was first weaving some shawls, I'm like, oh, and I like a looser fabric, but they were just too loose. So, and I'm really bad about sampling. I'll just make a big shawl and be like, sample. So obviously with the not making a muslin for a bust. So sometimes it's just worth to make the thing, and if it doesn't work out, it's yours. You can wear the weird thing that's falling apart, not other people who you sell it to. So I think some questions to think about while you're making things with craftsmanship is perfection necessary? And then when are mistakes okay? So, or when does a mistake become beautiful? Sometimes mistakes become beautiful design elements. Maybe you drop a stitch while you're knitting and you like that, and then all of a sudden, and you get the run and you have like a nice drop stitch pattern that you could then make purposeful. Excuse me. After. Or like, reknit it, or, it's like, okay, I like that drop stitch. Let me add another drop stitch somewhere on purpose and like purposefully add areas while keeping the structure sound. Structure and stability are really important to consider when you're intentionally leaving mistakes. Having screwed up unintentionally, and then like the structure falling apart and having to start all over again really sucks. And then always consider your intention. So with craftsmanship, intention is key. So is structure and stability. And then anything from that, you need to have a reason why, which is intention. So I'm just repeating myself now. So we're going to move on to Kyla's lab. I've got some sad news, which I knew was coming. I just didn't realize when, or I had a feeling I'd need to do this, but I didn't know when exactly. So the mill that I get my relax base from stopped milling their DK. I was able to get it for a while if I ordered enough, but not anymore. They've just stopped. So now I'm going to be searching for different DKs that I like to replace that one. It won't be called Relax because it's not going to be the same fiber as my Relax DK. So my Relax Light and Relax Warmth, they're still available and going strong and still super soft and lovely and wonderful to work with, even though they're non-superwash. Don't be afraid of non-superwash. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Sometimes superwash isn't right. Sometimes you need that extra tooth of non-superwash. And that's what soak is for. Soak is great. You don't have to rinse it. You just put it in the water and let it dry. If you're worried about felting. So the mill does have a DK superwash that they sent me to test out. So if I really like it, I have a feeling I will because I really enjoy their yarns and how they're spun. Because it's superwash, it'll get a different name. If it doesn't have nylon in it, so it won't be play, because play has nylon in it. So if I find a DK that has like same amount of nylon or something as one of my other bases, it would be, whatever play. Or whatever DK, not play. So, the good news for you guys is the DK Relax or Relax DK weight will be on sale. It'll be at my discontinued price, which is wholesale. So good for you. And you can get it now. It's whatever colors I have is what I have, and that's it. Once it's gone, it's gone. I can't get it anymore. So, yeah, not super long, this one. I've been busy with getting art. Why can't I think of words today? I've used all my words in art applications, basically. So getting proposals written, which I'm always like, oh, that won't take long. Yeah, right. And same with job applications. I'm like, oh, I'll do this real fast. Like 2 hours later. And it's always so like soul sucking too. Like, love me. Just don't like doing that. it just feels like I know I have to like sell myself and be like, I'm wonderful, jazz hands. And I just have a hard time doing that because I've always been taught to be humble, and nowadays you really have to like sell yourself. And jazz hands. And that's my phone, and I'm gonna go. So I'll see you guys later this month. Bye.